I'm going to do pastoral visitation in my car, which means I get to do ministry and I get to be in the carpool lane. So, the first person I'm going to do this with, of course, should be the person whose idea it was. So, ladies and gentlemen, Sheri Sinaga.
Hey, everyone.
We'll wait for the applause to die down. Okay. So, Sheri, like with every pastoral visitation I do, I always want to make sure you're being faithful to God and to the church. And so, first of all, I just want to ask you, what time does Sabbath start this Friday night? When does the sun go down?
8:07.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's actually 7:56. I'd advise you to keep your Pacific Union recorder handy. They have a sunset table. And also you can find it online. I believe it's called keepthesabbathexactlyright.com. So
I'm missing that one. I don't think it's on my Facebook feed.
So what does the Bible teach is the correct percentage of your income to give back to God?
Oh. Now I know there's that 10% text. And there's offerings on top of it. So it's tithe plus offerings.
Okay, so it's 10%. You say it's 10% plus offerings.
Yes.
Okay. Well, no, I'm sorry. It's
striking out 2 for 2 here.
2% more than whatever you're giving now.
Oh, that must be in the more modern version.
Okay, then just a little Bible knowledge. What book comes after Joel?
After Joel?
Yes.
Well, in today's world, that would be Osteen.
I'll accept that, actually. That's good enough. Osteen, that is the correct answer.
Right.
Joel. The book of Osteen follows the book of Joel.
Since he has many books.
Yes. And probably because you answered that way, God will give you more money. So.
Now that will help with the 2% that I have the increase. I didn't realize that was to take place.
Not bad. I think you're going to be all right. Just keep working on it. I think we'll be. I think you're. There's hope. Your salvation is still possible.
Oh, good.
All right. So, we're on the 210 right now, getting kind of between Arcadia and Pasadena, coming from Duarte. Now, Sheri lives in Long Beach, and I live and work in Glendale, and so the question, obviously, is why were we out in Duarte, Sheri?
So, a couple years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer and came through that with flying colors. Unfortunately, one of the side effects of the radiation treatment was that it actually caused me to have leukemia. So, April the 1st, not an April Fool's joke, I got admitted into City of Hope, which is considered one of the top oncology hospitals in the world. And I was in the hospital for 62 days as an inpatient, and then now I am an outpatient coming in to get chemo treatments. Pastor Todd and Pastor Arlene and Victoria and Jason, Yashara has been super supportive. They've been able to provide me with transportation either to the hospital or from the hospital to help me and my family as I go through this treatment. So I'm truly appreciative of all the support that I've been able to receive from Pastor Todd and the team.
And it's been our pleasure. So what is the prognosis outlook with your leukemia?
So right now where we are is I'm in phase 2 out of 3 phases. The other good news is I don't have to have a bone marrow transplant. I'm reproducing my white blood cells and my red blood cells and my platelets now. So we're very grateful for that. And right now they're just making sure that we've gotten everything and that I won't have a relapse. So, considering all in all, I'm doing pretty good.
One of the things I love to do when I talk to folks at Glendale City Church is to have them talk about their God experiences. And the other thing that, if you know me at all, is I have a tolerance for spiritual BS. I don't like the Pollyanna, everything is honky-dory, or just believe and everything will work out. I'm not comfortable with that, and I have a son, Sheri's not like that either.
Yeah, it's really been an interesting perspective change for me. I mean, I've grown up my whole life as an Adventist, and so you can imagine the shock when I've lived an Adventist lifestyle in the sense of diet and my lifestyle, and so when I got diagnosed with breast cancer, it was pretty shocking, and I had questions. And there's Elizabeth Kubler-Ross has the 5 stages of grieving. I want to say that I really went through that with my God relationship. That disbelief that that I got breast cancer, he hadn't protected me even though I lived a good life. Then there was definitely the anger stage, and I would say in the beginning, I was like pretty pumped up. I'm going to fight this and cure this. And then as the chemo just drained and there's pain and nausea, it got pretty hard to like God, actually. And I was angry at him, so much so that I refused to pray for probably about 6 months. And it was until I came to a point where I grieved what I was losing, and it was in that grief that I found him again. Through the Psalms, I could feel that he understood the grief that I was going through, and then there was a peace that came after that. So that was kind of I think Kubler-Ross's journey. I kind of went through the same thing in my spiritual life. When I got diagnosed with leukemia, obviously I was very shocked, because other than feeling fatigued, I didn't really have any other symptom to show for it until they did blood work and said, oh, you don't have an immune system. So when that happened, and there was the irony that the treatment for breast cancer had caused the leukemia, it made me mad. I went into City of Hope on a spiritual level. I was mad at him, and I would hear platitudes from people like, God has a plan for you, and I'm thinking, no, if he's a loving God, why the heck am I having cancer twice? That is not a loving God. So first of all, I had to grapple with the fact that if you're loving and this is the plan, it sucks.
Yep.
But a couple weeks into my stay at the hospital, a very wise spiritual man came to visit me, and I had this conversation where I was saying, I am angry. I just don't get it. And his comment back to me was, when you're going through cancer, there are 2 parts to it. There's a science part to it, and there's a spiritual part to it. The science part to it is that if you fall under a good protocol, and that protocol has been funded and researched and developed, you have an awfully good chance to live and not to have relapse, to be able to stay in remission. And by this time, I already know that my subcategory was a good protocol. He said, for people who don't have good protocols, it's because the science isn't funded and the development of the research hasn't got it to a place where they can save more people's lives. So he said, it's important for us to be able to fund science and research, because of that's what's saving people's lives. The God part, he said, that's the peace, that's the comfort, that's the quietness and the joy. He said that is where you find him. The protocol is going to be your protocol, whatever. And for me, it was able to distinguish it, and all of a sudden I stopped being mad, because I was mad at God because I thought he was the cause of it, when really, I know it sounds kind of cool, but it's like a statistics. I fell into that category, and now I have to have science to make sure that I'm going to get well through this, and I know that I am, because I'm in a good category.
Yeah.
But that emotional part, I came back and, there was an outpouring of love from friends and family. Pastor Arlene came, and she actually brought games, and we played competitively. We have a saying: we're friends before the game, and we're friends after the game, but we're not friends during the game. And Pastor Arlene is very good at that. The other thing that was really powerful for me was because my immune system was so weak, I was not allowed to be touched for over 2 months.
Wow.
Other than the doctor coming in and but no hugs, no loving touch.
Wow.
But what I learned was my nurse practitioner, when she would come in, she would put her hand on my knee and then she would just squeeze it. And it was like a love moment for me where I realized I missed the physical contact. And even though I wasn't supposed to have it because I could catch someone's germs, but just having a hand on the knee and squeezing. But please do ask the person before you do that, because in today's age, that might not be appreciated. But I appreciated it that there was someone who cared enough to touch me, because I couldn't be touched for 2 months. I had so many visitors that the visiting people downstairs didn't even check them in. They're like, oh yeah, go on up and see her. And I can't tell you how many times, even though I stopped being angry at God, I just couldn't pray because I was hurting about it. And on the days that I was hurting about it, somebody came to my room, a friend, a family, and they prayed for me. And it was like every time I needed that, somebody turned up. And so I kind of think that this God thing is a team thing. That even though we talk about a personal relationship, He gets it, that sometimes that personal relationship is maybe not the strongest right now, but then He's going to send a team member to come in and carry me so that I get through that day, or get through that gameplay if you're into sports. And honestly, I have a deeper belief now in a way with Him. It's more real. I don't mince words with Him anymore. I tell Him how I feel, and somehow things work out. And I do believe that there is a God, and I believe it's personal, and that when there's a storm, He's in the storm with me. Sometimes I don't do well in the storm, then He sends somebody to be with me in that storm. But that's what I've been finding, how He's been walking with me through this.
Wow. Man. Well, cool. I didn't detect any BS in that, so that story passed. So thank you.
I'll save the BS for after. Okay, one last thing. I want you guys to know that Pastor Todd is a very good driver. He does change lanes multiple times. I think next time I'll take a sheet to track how many times so that we'll have a number. He's safe, but let me tell you, he's a lane changer.
I make my own carpool, and I don't need the California Department of Transportation. And the other thing that Sheri told me was that because of my driving, chemo is not the most scary thing in her life.
It's all perspective, people. It's all perspective.
That's my gift. Now.
Yes, Pastor Todd is a game changer.
That's my ministry.